another 6-man tag match for no apparent reason than we just want to have a bunch of 6-man tag matches. The Lucha Brothers and the Laredo Kid against the, is it too early to say dumb fucks on YouTube? And and they're yep, it sure is. And their little friend Brandon Cutler. Okay, now the Lucha Brothers are back together. I thought Felix and Pac were a team and Penthouse was a single heel. Felix and Pac, the last time I saw them, they were baby faces. Now Felix and Penthouse are back together, but they're apparently heels because they're going against the dumb fucks and Cutlet that are apparently baby faces. And also the Lucha Brothers and Laredo Kid had the heel interpreter, who is the best of the bunch of them. And this was just an excuse for all the kids to go out and play on their trampoline. This looked like the June Taylor Dancers in a riot with 2 7th grade students and their dull-witted pal that got left back 2 grades. And I can't watch this fake-ass Mexican square dancing that they insist on doing. In the UFC, they make the video games look like the fights, but when these fucking clowns get in the ring, they make the fights look like the video games. And it's just the same thing over and over, and they might love this shit in Tijuana. And maybe some of the AEW faithful like to see a bunch of grown men doing cheerleading routines, but for the average viewer of a wrestling match, this is gaga, garbage, caca. They all took turns jumping off high shit and catching each other. And finally, they went to a break, and I took the opportunity to not come back on the next segment and skip the second half of it. It was basically a million dives and flips. And finally, Laredo Kid backflipped Cutlet off the top rope and 1, 2, 3. It never changes. What did Dusty say in that promo? If you follow the view never changes. It never changes. Well, the match in AEW never changes, baby. Except, in this case, they had an afterbirth. That's different. We only have an afterbirth on 3/4 of the AEW matches. Olivier comes out and jumps the Laredo Kid and beats him up and whacks one of the other luchas, and then did his phone sex promo where he never actually completes a sentence. He just blurts out a lot of random words. And in the breathy fashion. And he confronted, was I watching this? Brian, tell me if I was watching this and I'm correct about this. He confronted the Bucks yet again over their lost friendship, their love gone wrong. They've spurned him. He went crazy and was the hyperventilating Marx brother, mad because you've got to too sweet me right now. It's like a lover's quarrel. These are not men, they're children fighting over who's cut who out of friendship. So the hyperventilating Marx brother and the 2 smarmy punks from Cucamonga are arguing over whether they should too sweet each other or not. And every gas station mechanic in fucking America is going, I wish somebody just bend these 2 over and just fuck them all.
What?
Just then the Bucks walk out on Twinkle Toes we can't figure out whose side we're supposed to be on in this. It's just a bunch of annoying people speaking to each other. And the Bucks walk off, and then the Lucha Brothers jump back on Olivier and lay him out. So nobody ever has the fucking last word. They just, if the guy who beat up another guy, if he stays out there long enough, the guy that got beat up will come back and beat him up in the same segment. I didn't understand any of this. What were your thoughts?
In terms of the match, Brandon Cutler can do a lot of the moves that everyone else seems to be able to do, a lot of the high-flying moves, but boy, does he not look like a wrestler. He's really skinny. There's nothing intimidating about him. There's nothing that stands out about him. He doesn't seem special compared to anyone else who does all the same things he does. And it's clear that he's only there because he's friends with the Young Bucks. I think AEW loves tournaments. They should have a tournament of the friends. And just have everyone's charity hire, Dr. Luther and Brandon Cutler and QT Marshall and Sean Spears and everyone else, all the people that are only there because of who their friends are, and have a tournament amongst them to find out who really is the best friend.
The best friend.
Other than that, I get a kick out of Rey Fenix. I have to admit, I get a kick out of watching him. The post-match, I was surprised when all of a sudden Omega got his ass kicked by the Lucha Brothers, and apparently they busted his mouth because he was bleeding. I don't know what to think of all this. Like you said, who's the face, who's the heel? It's hard for me to believe that the Young Bucks are baby faces because they act like heels. Nick Jackson just has no charisma at all. He just seems like, you would think that if they weren't the sober brothers, that Nick Jackson was just stoned all the time sitting there. He never really reacts or says anything. That would
be an excuse for his dull-witted look and his lack of any personality whatsoever.
Yeah, he has nothing. And then Matt Jackson, everything he says comes across like a little brat, like a little heelish brat.
Yeah.
But then Omega's in there clearly being a heel. I don't know why anyone's supposed to care about any of this. This has been laid out so poorly from day one. On the indie scene, they were the elite. This group of Omega and the Bucks, and I guess you could even say Cody and Adam Page, who was in New Japan. But nothing's really been done with any of that in AEW. So the average person who doesn't read The Observer may have no idea what's going on with any of these idiots.